Welcome to my review of Season 6 of The Shield. Of course, if you haven't checked out my reviews of the show's previous seasons, be sure to give them a watch. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more videos. So, we've come off the back of what I thought was quite clearly the best season of the show. High energy, high stakes, high drama, and I was really looking forward to diving into Season 6. Initially, it seemed like the show would pick up from where it left off. Forrest Whitaker is still in the show as Lieutenant Kavanaaugh. He's still scheming about ways to take down Vic Mackey. In fact, he seems to have gone off the deep end, resorting to conspiring with the CI Emolia and to plant evidence in Vic's home, trying to pin Lem's murder on him, twisting the narrative so that the cops start to think Vic knew Lem would take him down, so he had him offed. But this storyline is wrapped up in pretty much one episode. Kavanagh plants evidence in the first episode of the season and he gets caught and arrested in the second, and him and Vic share one last scene together as Kavanagh speaks to him from a jail cell, going all esoteric, telling Mackey that the universe will restore balance and it will have its way with him or something zen like that. And that's it. That's Kavanagh out of the show after 2 episodes. I was shocked. Seriously, I was flabbergasted that such a supreme character was written out of the show so abruptly, and in such bizarre fashion as well, and that he basically gives up. I mean, I get where he's coming from. He realised what he had become, and that his plan was failing anyway, so decided to come clean. But it's a really strange way to open up a new season. I mean, Season 5 was only 10 episodes or something anyway. Why not just have these 2 episodes be the final storyline of Season 5? Instead of a wonky intro to Season 6 that's done away with after 2 episodes. It feels like it belongs in the previous season. I was waiting for him to pop up again, and then I went online to see if Forrest Whitaker was going to be in Season 7, but no! That's him just done in the show. One of the best characters just discarded so flippantly after it felt like he'd be a major part of the season. It was so sudden that I felt like there was some kind of behind the scene issue or something, like the actor didn't want to commit to another whole season of television or had scheduling conflicts. It was a real bummer to me. I don't know what you guys think, and of course let me know down in the comment section below, but giving Kavanagh the chop really made Season 6 lose much of its juice. And even that aside, sticking with the opening couple of episodes, the cops are investigating Mackey because they think he killed Lem, but we know he didn't, and he was framed. Simultaneously, Vic is trying to find this Guado guy because he thinks he killed Lem, but we know he didn't. And so there's an odd feeling. The jeopardy isn't quite there, and as such, it's lacking the tension that is so quintessentially part of The Shield. I'm just sitting there, waiting for everybody to catch up to what we already know, to find out what the score is regarding Lem's death, so we can actually get going with a storyline where we don't actually know more than the characters. As you can probably tell by now, I'm not the biggest fan of this season. In fact, truth be told, I didn't really like it. It's the first time I've watched a season of the show and actually have been disappointed. It isn't just the Kavanagh stuff, but there's something lacking in this season. It feels more like a post-Season 5 than a fully formed season of its own. From what I understand, it's something of a bridge between Season 5 and 7, and yes, I can see that. We're looking at the fallout of Season 5, and there are storylines that feel like they're setting up future events. But on its own, as a fully formed season of television that stands on its own 2 feet, it falls flat, I have to say. I'm still riding high off Season 5, but now it feels like we've already orgasmed and are desperately trying to go again, but the magic is not quite there. I'm struggling to even remember some of the stronger plots of the season. Shane is guilt-ridden over what he did, especially after finding out that Lem was not going to rat his friends out. Mackey is being forced out of the police force and is given the task of breaking in his replacement, Kevin Hyatt, a character who seems like he just walked off the set of Baywatch or something. Claudette takes over as captain of the Vaughn, swapping placing with Billings, who is Dutch's new partner, and Julian joins the strike team. But these aren't exactly storylines, are they? They are just characters being swapped around. And Julian as part of the strike team feels wrong, man. It's like putting in your milk first and then cereal, or socks before trousers. I don't know. I just had images of him hanging back, preaching the good book to a boarded up house as Mackey tries breaking down the front door with his bare fists. I do miss the dynamic between Claudette and Dutch, but this Billings fella is quite a funny character. I didn't like him at first. I don't think any of us did. But he provides a few laughs as he and Dutch try to get to grips working with each other. That is until the pranks and revenge schemes sour and go a bit too far and weird. There are some strong scenes. Vic beating on Guado comes to mind, as a guilty Shane looks on and tries to get Vic to drop it. I felt like I was in on something very dirty. And Vic and Shane's late confrontation when Vic learns the truth is perhaps the standout scene of the season. Speaking of which, I'm glad it didn't drag out Vic trying to find out if Shane had something to do with Lem's death, instead finding out about episode 6 and immediately confronting him about it. With Lem's absence, Ronnie takes up a bit more of the spotlight, which as of yet has yet to bear fruit. I've never been a fan of this guy. Sure, I had issues with Lem's actor. He always looked like he'd done a cheesy fart and desperately wanted you not to think it was him, but at least he had a pulse. Ronnie's actor just feels like wallpaper. The actor is flat. He blankly delivers his lines like he's actively refusing to invest and take an interest in what he's doing. The second half of the season feels very distant. This guy, Hernand, an agent deep undercover in a gang, is all of a sudden really important, and it's imperative we find him or his life's at stake. There's this murder of half a dozen Mexicans that's somehow tied into a war between Mexicans and Salvadores, which is tied into backdoor political shenanigans, which comes across as scattered, murky and confusing. Shane suddenly tries to get in close with an Armenian woman who's running the Armenian mob. There's this guy Cruz Pezuela, a supporter of Acevedo's political campaigns, who's making some kind of moves and is involved in the underworld. No doubt something that will be built upon next season, but it just felt so blech, almost as if the writers were struggling to come up with storylines as they moved the chess pieces around to set up the final season. And there was practically no finale. The season's last episode just felt like it was any other. Just very mediocre all round, for both the high bar that season 5 set and the show in general. Other than that, I don't really have much to say, aside from episode 9 having perhaps the strangest camera angle I've ever seen in a show, where an interrogation was briefly shot from under Dutch's armpit. I was also confused somewhat as to how many episodes there were this season. IMDb seemed to show 11, but my TV channel only had 10. Taking a closer look, it appears that there's some kind of prologue, a 15-minute prequel, which showcases the immediate aftermath of season 5 and goes through Lem's memorial service. I haven't seen it yet, and maybe it's something we can discuss in a future video. Season 6 didn't really feel like a proper season. I've done some looking online, and it does appear my sentiment is shared by many, that season 5 is the best, and the series takes a nosedive with season 6, so hopefully season 7, which has far higher ratings, will act as a redeemer. So what do you make of season 6? Were you disappointed in it as well? Let me know in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.